is Boston Talk 8576, man. I want to talk about something. It's going to be something totally different. It's going to be about football, man. If you don't, I know it's supposed to be a boxing channel for most people, but I'm going to start talking about all sports. I want to talk about the Washington Redskins of the 1987. In 1987, the NFL went on, went on a strike. And the players' union wanted free agency. And the owners did not want to get a players free agency because when you got drafted by a team, they wanted to keep you on that. They wanted to have the rights to you. They wanted to be able to trade you. They didn't want you to have, the option to be a free agent and go where you want to go. That's how sports, that's how football were in them days. And the players went on strike. So the players, when they went on strike, the billionaire and the millions and millionaire owners of those teams, they wanted to continue making money because, they had a TV contract. And, they want to make their money. So they went out and got replacement players. And replacement players, came in and took over the roster of the regular players that did not play, that chose to strike. Even though, some, high-profile names did come and cross the picket line, like, Lawrence Taylor, Tony Dorsett, Danny Whitehead, and guys of that nature. Even though they did come across the picket line, a lot of guys still stayed out. And, it was tough for those guys because those guys wasn't making money. And a lot of those guys had mortgage payments, they had kids, they had, a lot of things going on that they couldn't pay for because they were no longer getting paid. And the replacement players came in and they called them the scabs. And the one unique thing about the Washington Redskins, when they replacement players came in, they contributed in a great way. They before the strike, the Washington Redskins were 0-1. And the replacement players came in and won 3 games, in a row. They went 3-0 with the replacement players, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys, which a lot of them had a lot of their starters that crossed the picket line for that game, and they beat that team. They beat a pretty formidable Dallas team with regular starters. And what's interesting about that, man, is those guys, the Washington Redskins, went on to win the Super Bowl that year. They won the Super Bowl that year with Doug Williams, the first black quarterback, and from Grambling University, Doug Williams. But those guys did not get properly recognized for, steadying the ship for the Washington Redskins. And even the owner, Jack Ken Cook, and Joe Gibbs, the coach, said that the replacement players played a little part in Redskins history. That may be true that they played a little part in the Redskins history, but by y'all winning the Super Bowl, it became a big part in Redskins history because those replacement guys steadied the ship and gave y'all an advantage that other teams didn't have by getting y'all a great division win over the Cowboys, which catapulted y'all to the Super Bowl because y'all had home field advantage through the playoffs. So those guys did a great job. Now, and then they didn't receive a Super Bowl ring. I'll get to that later. But I would see if the games didn't count towards the schedule and they just brought replacement players in because, the NFL had a TV contract and they wanted to, still make their money. And when the regular players came back, the record started from where they was when they went out. So if the Washington Redskins would have started 0-1, then I can see that the replacement players not getting a whole lot of recognition, but they did help y'all financially anyway. But I will kind of understand that you say that they was a small part of y'all history, but those games counted as real games. Joe Gibbs was on the sidelines coaching the games, man. So the games counted. So they did end up keeping 13 replacement players when the strike was over because a lot of players just crossed the picket line because they were tired of not getting their money. They didn't want to go to some certain players are losing $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a game, and they didn't want to continue losing that money. But so they kept 13 of the players from that replacement team, and some of them got Super Bowl rings, but many of them didn't get Super Bowl rings. I don't understand how Joe Gibbs can say he can't really say if the guys deserve Super Bowl rings. Those are the same guys that you coach, same guys that carried you off the field when y'all beat the Cowboys back in '87. The same guys that went 3-0, the same guys that came in there and practiced for you, gave blood, sweat, and tears, gave you joy, catapulted you to the Super Bowl. You wearing a Super Bowl ring proudly. We attached your name to not only Super Bowls that you won in '83 and '88. I mean, not '92 and '83, but we give you credit for winning the Super Bowl in '88, '87, '88 season, which the replacement players played a big part in that. If replacement players would have came in there and went 0-3, y'all would have been 0-4. Trust me, y'all probably wouldn't even make the playoffs, let alone win a goddamn Super Bowl. So for you to say you can't really say if they deserve a Super Bowl, of course they deserve a Super Bowl ring, man. Joe Gibbs was a brilliant coach. Obviously, he won 3 Super Bowls, won many NFC championship games, won divisional games. But that was a dumb decision, and that was a dumb thing to say, and that was a dumb thing by the owner to say that those guys don't deserve a Super Bowl ring. Y'all displayed the trophy in the case, right? And when it says on the schedule of 1987, it don't take out those 3 games that y'all won. Y'all went 11-4 that year. Those 3 games is on the record. Now take those 3 games off the record. Start y'all off 0-4 when the replacement players leave and the regular players come back. What does that leave y'all then? Y'all don't have that 3rd ring. Y'all don't get it that year anyway. So how can you say that those guys don't deserve a ring? Of course, those guys deserve a ring, man. They played. The NFL recognized it as a NFL pro game. And then y'all say, well, we couldn't give 2 teams, 2 rosters rings because the NFL only gave us so much money. Jack Ken Cook was worth millions of dollars. You mean to tell me he couldn't, out of his pocket, out of greatness of his heart, give Super Bowl rings to guys that deserve Super Bowl rings? These not guys that didn't deserve Super Bowl rings of games that didn't count. These games counted. So he would have been given Super Bowl rings to guys that earned it. So, I don't know how many of you guys that subscribe to me, know about the Washington Redskins back then, or even looked at football back then, or even watch football now. But my take is the replacement players deserve. The Washington Redskins deserve a Super Bowl ring, in my opinion. Plain and simple, man. It's a no-brainer for me. It should be a no-brainer for Joe Gibbs, who actually coached the guys, who actually had euphoria or happiness when they beat Dallas Cowboys. And Dallas Cowboys was a rival of the Washington Redskins. They're in the same division. That was a divisional rival. So I don't understand, man. It's some people just so far up their ego, man, that they lose perspective, total perspective on the simplest things. Like, this is like a simple yes. They deserve Super Bowl rings. This is Boss Talk 576. I'm out.